Hello guys, we're back, reading the book The Power of Consciousness of Nevill Goddard Part 2. Subscribe, share, comment and leave your like. Help us in this wonderful work that is to bring knowledge to everyone on this planet. Thanks. Peace for all. Chapter 3 Power of Assumption. Man's main illusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Everything that happens to a man, everything that is done by him, what comes from him happens as a result of his state of consciousness. A man's conscience is everything he thinks, desires and loves, everything he believes is true and consents to. That is why a shift in consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Rain falls as a result of a change in temperature in the upper regions of the atmosphere, so that a change in circumstances occurs as a result of a change in your state of consciousness. Transform yourself by renewing your mind. Romans 12.2. To be transformed, the whole base of your thoughts must change. But your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas to think from them. Every transformation begins with an intense desire, burning to be transformed. The first step in renewing the mind is the wish you must can or be different and intended before you can start changing yourself. Then you must make your future dream a present reality. You do this by assuming a feeling of your fulfilled desire. By wishing to be different from what you are, you can create the ideal of the person you want to be and assume that you are already that person. If that hypothesis is maintained until it becomes your dominant feeling, the realization of your ideal is inevitable. The ideal you hope to achieve is always ready for an incarnation, but unless you offer human succession, it is unable to be born. Therefore, your attitude must be one in which, having desired to express a higher state, you just have to accept the task of embodying this new and greater value of yourself. When giving birth to your ideal, you must keep in mind that the methods of mental and spiritual knowledge are completely different. This is a point that is truly understood by probably more than one person in a million. You know something mentally, looking at it in a way, comparing it with other things, analyzing and defining if you think about it. While you can know something spiritually just by becoming it, just by thinking about it. You must be the thing itself and not just talk about it or look at it. You must be like the moth in search of your idol, the flame, which it stimulated with true desire, plunging into the sacred fire at once, folded its wings inside, until it became a color and a substance with the flame. He only knew that the flame was burning in him, and only he could say that he had never returned. Farda Dinner. Just as a moth in its desire to know the flame was willing to destroy itself, so it must become a new person and is willing to die for its present self. You must be aware of being healthy if you want to know what health is. You must be aware of being safe if you want to know what security is. Therefore, to embody a new and greater value of yourself, you must assume that you are already what you want to be and then live by faith in this hypothesis that you are not yet incarnated in the body of your life, but in the confidence that this new value or state of consciousness becomes incarnated through your absolute fidelity, the assumption that you are what you want to be. This is what integrity means. It means that integrity is the presentation of the highest feeling of desire realized in the certainty that this new state of consciousness is the renewal of the mind that transforms. There is no order in nature corresponding to this presentation of the exposed of the ideal itself other than itself. Therefore, it is the height of madness to expect the incarnation to give a new concept and greater self-esteem to come through a natural evolutionary process. What requires a state of consciousness to produce its effect obviously cannot be done without such a state of consciousness, and in your ability to take on the feeling, give it a bigger life, to take on a new concept of yourself. You have what the rest of nature has: no imagination or instrument by which you create your world. Your imagination is the instrument, the means, through which your redemption from slavery, disease and poverty is carried out. If you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation, give a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means, according to which your redemption, that is, the realization of your ideal, can be accomplished. Imagination is the only redeeming power in the universe. However, its nature is such that it is optional for you if you remain in your current concept of yourself, a longing to be hungry for freedom, health and security, or choose to become the instrument of your own redemption, wondering if like the one you want to be, and thus satisfying your hunger and redeeming yourself. The strong being, then, is brave, pure, patient and true. The work that is yours, you don't let another hand do for strength, for every need, it is finally that of the source within you in the kingdom of heaven. Chapter 4. The changes that occur in your life are the result of changes in the concept of yourself. For lay people it seems to be the result, not of a change of conscience, but of a change in external causes or coincidence. However, the only destiny that governs your life, it is the destiny determined by its own concepts, its own assumptions. For an assumption, although false, if it persists it becomes a fixed reality. The ideal you seek and hope to achieve will not be manifested, it will not be realized by you, until you imagine that you are in that ideal. There is no escape for you, except for a radical psychological transformation of the same, except for your assumption of the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Therefore, results or achievements make crucial use of your ability to use your imagination. It all depends on your attitude towards yourself. Whatever you do not claim to be true will never be accomplished by you. This attitude is the necessary condition, because only by changing the attitude towards yourself will you realize your goal. Every transformation is based on suggestion, and this can work only where you are completely open to influence. You must abandon yourself of your ideal as a woman, abandon yourself to love, give yourself completely to the path to union with your ideal. You must assume the feeling of the desire fulfilled until your assumption has all the sensory vividness of reality. You must imagine that you are already experiencing what you want. That is, you must assume the feeling of fulfilling your desire until you are possessed by it, and this feeling will put multitudes of other ideas out of your awareness. The man who is not prepared for the conscious plunge into the assumption of the desire realized in faith, which is the only way to the fulfillment of his dream, is not yet ready to live consciously by the law of the assumption, although there is no doubt that he lives by law of supposition unconsciously. But for you who accept this principle and are ready to live consciously assuming that your desire is already fulfilled, life's adventure begins to reach a higher level of being. You must assume a higher concept of yourself. If you will not imagine yourself different from what you are, then you remain as you are, for if you do not believe that I am, you will die in your sins. John 8:24. If you don't believe that you are the person you want to be, then you remain as you are through the faithful systematic cultivation of the feeling of fulfilled desire. Desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. Assuming the feeling of the fulfilled desire makes your future dream a present fact.